Hey, you know what time it is. It is 7 o'clock. It is August 9th, 2022. And that means it is another episode of Marketing Made Easy. August 9th, 2020. There goes. I knew there was going to be an echo somehow from this little guy sitting in his little blue room over there. I was going to give them the new tagline, and I'll let them know what the new tagline is underneath the Marketing Made Easy. It is
what, Made Easy, the show about nothing?
The marketing show about nothing.
Marketing show about nothing.
The marketing.
It's funny, I was just reading when I pulled up the Facebook so that I could have the feedback for you because I know how much you love it.
Yeah.
The comments and who it is. And I was looking at what we talk about, and I was like, we need to kind of change that, put dream clients in there somewhere.
I think today's show is going to be a lot about that one today. About
marketing show about nothing. I really like it because 132 weeks has been talking about nothing.
So cool, man. Do you want to share your story that you were just telling me about your fiasco today? Maybe it'll help people understand what the importance of, business and customers and caring for their customers and any.
Yeah, sure. I would love to. I took a bunch of people out that were helping me on a project. From time to time, run paint crews on projects, and I do what's called in and out. What normally takes 2 to 3 weeks, I do in 2 days because I bring in crews from all over the place and pay them a lot of money. And everybody loves it and makes money, and we have fun. And then I usually either bring lunch in or take them out to lunch. And today, we finished an entire thing in a day and a half, and I took them out to lunch. And I was told that there was this restaurant that was attached to the Culinary Institute with visiting chefs, and all the students worked in the restaurant, and they were so eager to serve. And I was like, and they're like, it's really expensive. I was like, great, let's go. And so we get there, and like the hostess, well, we tried to order. We wanted to order food. I said, okay, you take everybody's order it. You'll go pick it up and bring it here. And then we don't lose any productivity. We called at like 10:45 and go, we'd like to order lunch. And they go, you can't. What do you mean you can't? You can't order it until we open at noon. I was like, well, we can't order it. You get it ready? No, can't do that. We're still serving breakfast and we're finishing that up. It's like, okay, I guess we'll go over there. And so we get there and the hostess greets us and she goes, it's going to be 45-minute wait. I was like, okay, we couldn't order food. How about if we order appetizers now and you serve them here while we're waiting? No, we can't do that. But if you can order them to go, I said, okay, well, if we ordered them to go and we ate them here, or if our table was ready, we could bring them to the table. No, we can't do that. I was like, okay, but you could sit outside. That'll only be 15 minutes. And it was a little cold here today. And I was just in shorts and a T-shirt. And so we get there, and the food was pretty good. The appetizers were really, really good. And we're like, this is going to be good. The entree came, and they were terrible. I had a Reuben, the menu described it as delicious, and it was the toughest thing I've ever eaten. It was the worst corned beef Reuben sandwich that I think I've ever bitten into. He comes back, he goes, how's everything here? I said, you know what? This is the toughest corned beef. And they said, we make it here and we do our own corning. And I was like, this is great. This is going to be delicious. And it's like, okay, you want something else? I was like, well, it took an hour to get these sandwiches. So no, I got to get back to life. And at the end of the meal, it was like $160 for like 5 people. So wow. It was a lot of money. I mean, $17, $18, $19 sandwiches, $7, $11, $14, $18 appetizers, but it was okay. And at the end, I was like, is there a manager here? Because nobody ever came out when, the sandwich was, I showed him, I pulled the corned beef. I couldn't break it. Corned beef is supposed to just fall apart and melt in your mouth. I know. Right. And so this manager kid comes over who had helped deliver food earlier or something. I didn't know it was the manager, but he comes over and he says, what can I help you with? I said, first of all, it took us an hour to get our lunch. He goes, oh, that shouldn't have happened. That's too long. I'm sorry. I was like, okay. And I had a Reuben. It was tough. It was chewy. I said, it was horrible. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. I'll take it off the bill. I said, no, he already forgot to. I told him and he took it off the bill. He goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Maybe next time when you come back, you'll give us another chance and we'll do better." I'm like, "Excuse me?" I said, "I just spent like 150, $160 on lunch, and you think I'm going to come back for something that was this bad?" He goes, "Well, I'm really, really sorry." Everything was, "I'm sorry." There was nothing at all to, let me find out what happened, or, you know what, maybe if you came back with, your wife, your girlfriend, this, that we could, show you that we could do a better. Nothing. Everything was sorry, 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 sorry. That was it. There was nobody cared at all. The whole attitude of the place. And I come to find out that it wasn't a culinary institute anymore, and it was sold, and just like somebody bought it and nobody cared. And we have to care. It was the worst experience that I had. And it was just, it's so easy to me to be good because there's so many people out there that set the bar really, really low.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it was just nothing to do with, we care about you. I wasn't looking for anything for free. I was just looking for somebody to say, you know what, I apologize for what happened. Let me see what I can do to make it right. Let me go check on what happened with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let me get your number. Let me get your email. Let me do something at least to let you know why it was or what happened. And it was just, it was sad. It was really sad that, because I was looking forward to it for them, because it was a treat to them. They don't eat out like that. And that's why I said, that's why I eat at home, because very few people can cook the way I love to eat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah. So,
I was, looking for a way to. Thanks, by the way, Emma. If you are here live, hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Um, I was just trying to figure out a way to tie in the story to what we were talking about, and you just nailed it there, because it was the part of that nobody really cared. They didn't really care to do anything, and as I told you before we went live, that I've got a whole bunch of notes here, and while you're talking, this one thing popped out at me that we'll talk about today, which is focus on a single person that you're trying to wow or help and create something that they will love. And that's like the theme of what you're trying to say there is like, look, care enough about your clients, care enough about your customers, and you care for them one at a time. And so the focus today is about the power of one. And thank you, by the way. I don't know who that Facebook user is, but thank you for being here live. If you can, if you're in the Facebook group, if you can give StreamYard permission to display your name, and maybe you tried it, and because sometimes it doesn't work, but we'd love to know and who you are and give you props. And Petra's here live. Thank you for so much for being here.
and Joey, that's Kim Sellers Brown, I believe, right
Kim.
before Petra,
Okay,
because
hi,
they're
Kim.
both showing up in the Facebook feed that I'm looking at with the echo that was there earlier for you.
Amazing. It's Kim. Hey, all right, cool. Christina's here.
Get that again. The focus is on a single person to wow and love. And what was the rest of it?
To create something they will love. So the focus on a single person you are trying to wow or help and create something they will love. And this is the stuff that we talk about for what, like 130 episodes now. We've been talking about this. And
Yeah.
so we'll talk more about this now. And my man Nick, man, good to see you here, bro. Thanks for being here. This is my partner in crime and is in the studio. He's truly a brother. So thank you for being here. It's amazing to have you. Go check him out, Nick Fiorucci, on his SoundCloud and all that kind of stuff. Just amazing, amazing DJ. He's still DJing. Give you props, bro. So today we're going to talk about the power of one, but I want to preface this with the counter. I don't know if the right word of it is that the downside of one, I guess was the better word for you can come up with this, is the most dangerous number in business is one. So I want to start the show off with that first, because we're very well aware of this, but this is not what we're talking about. So the most dangerous number in business is one. We know that. What we're talking about here is how you build the business with a one focus. And we'll talk about the one dream client, the one offer, and the one channel where you could consistently show up. Those are the basics of what we're talking about. But we'll get into this. Okay. So that's the power of one. And when I'm talking about this is like what is the one dream client that you can serve, love, and wow or help? What is the one offer? That's the most important thing, I think. What's the one offer that you can do that scales you to $1 million? When you get to $1 million, then you can branch out and do a couple of other things. But I truly believe that the way to build the business, simplicity, is one offer that works, and with one dream client and on one main channel. Doesn't mean you're only on one channel, but it's like one main channel. What can you consistently show up? So we'll start there, Scott. Any thoughts or input, feedback on that? And we'd love to hear from the gallery as well.
Well, you put a lot in there, Joey. Even though it was one, it does start out with one thing, and it does start out with the offer. And the offer is not the tripwire thingy or the thing you're selling. The one offer is, what's the problem that we solve, and what's the promise that we make. That's what the offer is. What does your thing do for this person? And once we identify that, we go to the dream client and say, okay, it goes back to what you started with, is I'm going to focus on you. I'm going to wow you and love you with this offer, how I can help you, how I can serve you, and how I can take away your problems and make your life easy. And each one of those is one. And
Right.
Petra said, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah. And this goes back to, Domino's. So Domino's, when they positioned, they were doing one thing really, really well, right? So it was 30 minutes on us or it's free, whatever, like that. The whole thing.
Fresh hot pizza
delivered. Yeah, that's when they expanded it, but it basically was like 30 minutes, and but they were known for that. Like that was their thing, right? And that's how they kind of went into it. And then I got notes here that like Tom Monahan, who was the owner at the time, I don't know if he still is, but he said this: a fanatical focus. I'm highlighting this word: a fanatical focus on doing one thing well.
Yeah.
Stand for one distinctive thing that will give you a competitive advantage. And you and I both know back then when they did that, there was nobody doing fresh hot pizza for delivery or 30 minutes for free, blah, blah, blah. They were the first one. And that's what, increased their business like a hockey stick.
Oh, yeah. It was huge.
And so this is where, as we're doing this now, what is that one thing? What is the one thing that your dream clients need from you that you do better than anybody else? So I'd like to hear, maybe even from the gallery, if you have any ideas on what your thing is, and maybe we can help you through yours. Let me just see here. Collie, good to see you here, Collie. The gold, this is the key. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about this because I know that a lot of people get stuck on this, where it's like, well, the one thing I can do all these other things.
Yeah.
And well, you were there, man. So talk a little bit about your situation. Like, how did that work out for you?
It gave me an ideal nightmare life, is what it did. That's how it worked out for me, because it was the constant having to do so many different things, and different this and different launches and different landing pages and different sales pages and emails and this and that, and always having to come up with something new was exhausting. And it was insane beyond belief, because there was no focus on one thing. It was, how do we just keep doing the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing? And what was missing was the offer was not sound. It did not really, there wasn't a big enough problem out there that this was going to solve, that somebody would say, hey, and that's a nightmare life. And you and I, we hear people on the calls, there's 1,000 things that I need to do. There's all these things, and there's systems, and there's this. And I was on with someone the other day, and it was like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I said, well, who are you? Which one are you? You talked about the competitive advantage, that nobody can catch you. And if you put that out there to the world and you focus on that one thing, then you don't have to spend a life of insanity and nightmare and stress and the constant, how do I do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing? You really start to transform your life into a dream life when there are dream clients. And then you have a dream business when you're focusing on this one thing.
Yeah, and you said one thing there that I really want to make a point of, and really spotlight, is that like the offer, and the offer is like the last thing that we do. Like it's the most important, but it's the last thing that we do. And I find that so many people start with that, the offer slash product. This is
Right,
what I want to sell, and here's
right,
the offer, and then they go out and they try to sell it. And you and I both know that that's a broken model. It
yeah,
works for some people, it works, whatever, but most of us, it doesn't work because we don't have that dream client in place, the who. And I've been playing with this model. I still don't know how it's going to play out, or what it's going to be called. But there's, when I'm explaining this, which is just another idea of the dream business. Remember, we did that target thingy,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just that. And then when I'm talking to somebody, I was just actually talking to someone today who is struggling with getting the product out or whatever. And again, in the span of 5 minutes, it was, well, you've started the product first, and you don't know who the who is.
right.
So the what I explained it is, well, here's how it goes. It's a 4-step process. It's you, who, how, and what, which is like, this is around you in your life. The who is the person who's going to fit your life, and the how is the business, how does the business look in order to fit my life, and then what is the product, the service that's going to fit the business that will, transform the who in my life, that
Yep.
again fits all into my life. So I don't know how I'm going to use this, but that was just came to me one, like in a flash. Like, it's who you who you, how, and what.
I
Those are
thought it was
the three
you who,
steps.
how, and what.
Pardon me?
I thought it was you who, how, and what.
Yeah, did I say it the other way around? You're right. You, who, how, and what.
Only because I liked you who when I was younger.
Yeah, so I'm playing with that one anyway. But that's the whole idea. Is what is the first is the who. That if you get that out of the way,
Yeah.
and even we were talking today on my coaching call, and it was like the difference between the, like, going from like beginner mindsets to like scaling mindsets, or building the business mindsets, is that you go from how do I do all these things to who can do all these things with me and for me. Like, there's a difference. There's always who's, right? It's like,
Yeah.
when you want to scale, it's not like, well, how do I do this? It's who can do this. It's a completely different mindset. So
Yeah.
it's always about that who, right? And one of the things about positioning, like, let's go back to positioning, which is Al Ries and Jack Trout, one of our favorite two authors, is you have to have a position in the prospect's mind. And the only way you're going to do that is by having one singular simple message. Because I want to bring this around to marketing and copy and things like that too. But it's one simple message that you have in the mind, right? And that's the
Well,
only way you're going to set yourself apart from competitors.
okay, and I'm going to bring it full circle back to where you started. I think I'm going to keep going back to that a lot tonight because it is what is the single person you can focus on to wow and love and to create something that will help them. And again, going to your you, who, how, and what is who is it? How are you going to help them? And what are you going to do to help them? And if we keep it that simple, life just changes dramatically because all your effort and energy. I was talking to somebody the other day. Again, it was like, I was like, which one are you going to be? How do I know who you are? I don't know who you are.
Right, right.
Confusion in the marketplace. When there's one thing that you do, and as you said in the beginning, if you do one thing, you have one place you go do it, and you just, you start talking about it, helping people. They're like, oh, you're the this dude or dudette. Okay, now I know what you are. Instead of, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, I can do that. Well, you know what? I'm gone because I'm not looking for somebody. I'm looking for somebody that can help me with this one thing that will help me. I think it was on the Atlas call where, or in the group, I don't remember. because there's so many comments that constantly happen now about success people are having. It was like somebody came to my landing page and it was like, this is exactly what I was looking for, because it was so targeted, so specific to
Right.
one person. And that's, again, what we're talking about here is when you do that, you will differentiate yourself better than anything. It goes, do different behind your left shoulder, Joey. When we do different and we just focus and we take the flag, we draw the line in the sand, and we
And then we
plant
plant
the
the
pole.
flag.
Then we plant the pole and say, hey, this is who I am. This is who I serve. This is what thing I do. The one thing. That's it. And then it becomes magic. It
Yeah.
really does.
And we got some comments here. So this is great. Like Emma, she helps clients transfer their knowledge into an online digital product. And what I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to know, who is your dream client, Emma? If you can put that in to the chat, that would be amazing. And same thing for you, Christina. Like, you focus on list building, but who do you focus on list building for? And the reason I ask this, and the reason I'm lovingly challenging everyone on these things, is that I forget where I learned this from. It was very recent. It might have been in a book I just read. I can't remember, but it wasn't me. But this is a brilliant way to look at a statement that is, I'll pick on you lovingly, Emma. So, where if you have a statement and you could take your name off of it and put someone else's name on it, can that happen? Right.
Yep.
So, like, does your statement actually stand out that is so unique about you, or can any other person put their name on that and they can do the same thing? And the example was from like lawyers or accountants. If you go to any accountant website right now on the internet, they're all going to say, we do the best financial services to save you money on taxes and stuff like that. Like, that's a given, right? It's a given. So when you're looking at positioning, what is the thing that you do that stands out for people? And I'm going to read this to you. This is because this is really important. This is where I'm going with this. Is that this is from Al Rees again, from, I think it's 22 Immutable Secrets of Marketing or something like that. Marketing is not a battle of products; it's a battle of perception. This is the law of focus. You burn your way into the mind by narrowing the focus to a single word or concept. It's the ultimate marketing sacrifice. But the word the leader owns is so simple that it's invisible. So, in other words, I am the words associated with me are what? Dream clients, right? Dream clients. So that's all I talk about. That's what everybody knows me for. And now it's even like to the point where even some of the market is like, dude, you got to stop talking about dream clients. Like, that's all you talk about, right? Beautiful. That's exactly what I want, right?
Joey, I'd like to share my CFO that does all the stuff in my companies. He contacted me and he had hired this company to do his website for his accounting services. And I looked at the website and it was like multiple pages of this and that. And they like had everything. They threw everything on the website that he could possibly do. And I was like, stop. No. What's the one thing that you want to become known for? Who is your dream client? What is it that you do? And at the end of the day, it was like, he is a tax relief specialist for people that owe more than $15,000 to the IRS, who are getting dunning letters and they're scared to death because they think they're going to lose their business, their home, go to jail. They're freaking out. That's
beautiful.
It. It wasn't, well, I do nonprofit. And I said, I don't care about that stuff. I said, focus on this one thing, put it out there and talk about it, and give me 100 titles on things you could talk about that these people need to know about this one thing, nothing else. And it's taken him like months to finally go, this actually makes sense. And that's his focus. And he's starting to see it now, because there's something in the mindset, Joey, and we talked about it on one of the shows recently. I think there's a mindset thing where somewhere in the mind and the brain, it says, if you do enough things, then something will work. instead of if you do one thing really, really well, it'll work. It's like I gave an example. McDonald's does griddle hamburgers, Burger King does flame broiled hamburgers, and Wendy's does square hamburgers. That's really it. Yeah, they do all these other things, but that's why you go there. If you want your hamburgers flame broiled, you go to Burger King. If you want it, whatever.
Well, when you think of that, like right away when you said Wendy's, okay, the very first thing that comes to my mind, and this is why marketing works. The first thing that comes to my mind about the burger is fresh, never frozen.
Yeah,
because that's their marketing angle, right?
That's it.
I don't know if Burger King ever freezes them. I don't know if McDonald's ever, but I'm assuming they would, because Wendy's is saying fresh, never frozen, and it's the same thing. It's a hamburger, but that's what they're known for.
Well, it was it Schlitz or Pabst way back when somebody came in and they're like, well, you use, spring water, this, and like, well, everybody does. Yeah, but nobody told everybody that they do. And they did it. And all of a sudden their sales went crazy because they were the first to come out and say, we use filtered spring water. And that was it. There wasn't anything else, that it blew them up in the beer industry.
Very cool. So Emma, okay. So thank you for playing along with us. This is great. My dream client is a knowledge worker, coach, strategist, consultant, overwhelmed with one-on-one clients and so much knowledge, and help them find a better way of doing business. So are these dream clients people that you would spend the rest of your life with on a deserted island? All of these people, if you put them all in one room, and can you teach them like the same thing? So if you put them in a classroom, and this is not just for you, Emma, but for everyone listening, if you put them in a classroom, can you teach them all the same thing, or do you have to adapt what you're doing? That's a clue to know if you are in too many buckets.
Yeah. And Joey, I would challenge lovingly, of course, as always, Emma, is coach, strategist, consultant. I was talking to somebody and it was like therapists and psychologists and this. I said, those are different. Which one? What do you mean one? I help. No, which one? And again, I love to play the game of we're going to make a movie. And the movie is filmed in the coffee shop where the dude or dudette is talking to the barista instead of at the bar. I took your story and I just changed it a little bit. So we're in a coffee shop and dude or dudette sitting and saying to the barista, you know what? This is what's really going on. I'm struggling. I'm frustrated. And now we're going to cast a movie because you're going to come in and sit down and say, okay, who is this person? There's only one person talking to the barista. Tell me who he or she is and what's their situation.
Yeah.
That person. And again, here, but I help them all. Help one first, going back to the topic of the show, focus on one, wow them and love them. And you know what? If you decide it's coaches, life coaches that do this, then there's other people out there that are going to say, that's interesting. I'm looking for that. But then you get to decide, why would you want to do anything other than, again, hang out on a dream island with these people, invite them to your house for a month or two, and just want to hang out with them all the time. And it's just so important. And I don't know where the mindset comes from, Joey, that we have to do all of these things when it's so easy to focus on one.
Yeah, one offer, one thing, one clientele, one dream client. So Christina, you focus on helping female entrepreneurs. Can you go deeper than that? Is it all female entrepreneurs? Are they beginner female entrepreneurs? Are they who are they? When you do your dream client DNA, which is the list of the qualifiers and all that of who they are, that's so important. So you you don't have to put it into the chat, but just so it helps you and everybody listening, that when you're looking at the one thing, would a female entrepreneur know that you're speaking to them if they read that? That's the thing.
And Joey, I want to jump on what you just said is, would this, whoever it is, and we'll use Christina's, would this female entrepreneur know that you were talking exactly to her? And she would say, Christina, how does she know exactly what it is that I'm going through and exactly what it is that I'm looking for? And I don't think that would apply to the three different groups that you put up there.
No, you're thinking of Emma.
Yeah, Emma and Christina, sure.
Emma is,
Well,
or Christina is, like in real estate.
Joey,
We had,
we want specificity here.
yeah,
And if, in the real estate, okay, listings, the list makes you last. Needs a bit more here too. Um, in real estate, we had this saying, listings make you last. I could incorporate that somehow with email marketing. The list makes you last. Needs a bit more creativity here. I presume, Christina, that you're talking about if you have a list of people in your tribe that are dream clients, then you will survive. I'm kind of tweaking it here, Joey, because if you do have, like you do, a list of dream clients who are in your group, who are also on your list, who are either dream clients or dream clients in training, well, that's how your business lasts. And again, pillars
yeah,
1, 2, 3. Christina, you're building your tribe, you're serving them, and then when they're ready, they're going to say to you, how do I engage with you? How can I get something? How do I hire you? How do I buy something? Because it's that one thing. If we've got 5,000 people in our list or on our group, and we're trying to, okay, I used to, Joey, over 2 years, I launched over 100 products and 5 pieces of software and built an online marketplace. And I was physically exhausted. I still am exhausted from it. I haven't quite recovered yet, but it's happening over time. And the transition. So Christina says, first 1 to 3 years in business, all women in business. I'm going to challenge you, Christina.
yeah.
It's not all women in business, because would you want to work with a woman who is in business selling something that you don't believe in, that totally goes against what you believe in? I think the answer would be no. Again, if you could just pick one businesswoman right now, one entrepreneur female to work with tomorrow who was going to hire you that you would love more than anything in the world, who would it be? What would it be? Go, Joey.
Yeah, no, I mean, take the ball and run with it, bro. Like you're hitting all the major points of this. Is that it's not like when anybody says all or everyone, it's a red flag. Like you can't be everything to everybody. It's impossible. And this is where our brain gets in the way. Like you've already said this a billion times already today, Scott, is
Yeah.
we're so afraid of niching down, however you say that word. And it's a scary thing, but how many things have we seen in the last couple of weeks? You just said about testimonials of people saying, I finally did it. I finally narrowed down to, teaching Christian women about bookkeeping.
Right.
And my business took off. Well, no kidding. We've been telling you this,
Yeah.
and it's like, great. Like just narrow down into when a Christian woman is looking for bookkeeping services, they're going to know, well, that's Scott. Like I got to go to him because that's what he does for us.
Yeah.
Like people like us do things like this. People like us do things like this for us, for people like us, like whatever it is. And it's
Joey,
so important.
the nightmare life was, how do I go find people to buy my crap?
Right.
Where do I find them? Okay, joint venture deals and partnerships and all the energy to try and convince people to
Yeah.
seduce them in a good way, to encourage them, to incent them to help you get it out. And then you rely on them and it doesn't work. And then you have to go try and find somebody else and something else. And then you got to launch another thing and another thing and another thing, instead of it just, and who is this one for? Only a certain percentage of the people will want this one, and only a certain percentage will buy this. And it gets ridiculous, instead of, well, here's the one thing that I'm going to do now. And if you're a yogi and a healer, which is the same thing, and you want to help people learn how to do yoga the way you do it so that they have an incredible life through yoga, I'm your dude. I'm going to help you build your landing pages and get your sequences going so that you can help them. That's it. I don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
And
You want to, plant that stake in the sand, like
yeah,
boom. And so people know. And also to the point where, because you're so well known for it, that you still have the other side of the market who doesn't want to hear about it. Like
right.
your job is to repel 80% of the market. And that's an
Say,
indicator that you're
say that
doing your
again.
job well.
Say that again.
Your
Your job.
job in marketing is to repel 80% of it. It's
Yeah,
not to attract, it's to
yeah,
repel the wrong people. And the only way you can do that is by talking about the same thing again and again and again and again. I'll go back to an example of, Howard Stern. There, he has more listeners who hate him
Yeah.
than who like him.
Right.
And this is not how you market, but just to give you an example of the polarization, people tune into Howard Stern, the hate the guy, just to see what he's going to say, so they can go on social media and talk about it and say, "Did you hear him today?" Right. So in his case, it works like brilliantly. I'm not suggesting that, but just to give you an
No.
example that
Well, and I'm going to expand on Seth Godin from The Practice, where he talks about getting people to enroll. And once they're enrolled in your philosophy, because there's one thing, I'm going to play with the word enroll and say, okay, here we go. I want to go to college. Okay, so I'm going to go look at all the universities that offer exactly what I'm looking for. Like Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Brown, MIT. They don't go say to you, come to us. You're like, okay, I want to specialize in this, and here are the top universities that do that. And that's what they do. And you go and you apply and you enroll to see if they will accept you. And that's, I think, where we need to be, is let people enroll and see if you're going to accept them. That are they going to behave so that when you tell them to go do this, they'll do it. Or go stand in this other line, go to this other university.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Emma's got a good point here, because this is how the dream client, whatever the methodology or the mindset, is different from the avatar, because avatars are industries or groups of people that are the same, and the dream clients are different. The dream clients they can be from different industries and different places and different situations, but they're going to the same place. But the challenge is that, like I said, if you put them in a room together, can you teach them your one offer, your one thing, and they all want the same destination? If you can, and they are people that you, again, would invite over for dinner, your kid's birthday, all this kind of stuff. You could go on a cruise with them for 4 weeks, that kind of thing. And they're not paying you, by the way. There's no money involved here in this scenario. Are those the people? So, and that's another conversation beyond this, because I don't want to get that deep into that. We've had many conversations about the dream client DNA part of it. But when you're looking at the one thing, like, who are those people? It's so important to know who that person is. And you nailed it, Emma, that it's about their values, their behaviors, their characteristics, their mindsets, all of that. And those are people that are your friends that you can do business with. Let me see. Where else is here? I like being around those in personal development tool. So yeah, so Christina, this would be on your dream client DNA list. So the list is simple. There's one side is the anti-avatar. These are people I don't want to work with, and here's the things I don't want in a person. And one would be they don't like personal development. The other side would be they love personal development, or they love Tony Robbins or whatever. And so I would start making that list, and it's a continuous thing. It's always growing. And you just get crystal clear on it's kind of like hiring A players for your business, right? You'd want somebody who is absolutely brilliant at what they do, and you're going to have a job listing and on all these things that they need to understand, and you want them to fit into your company culture. If you're heart-centered and doing it the right way, you don't want just somebody who can do the job and they disrupt everybody, right? They got this bad attitude and they come into your company. So it's the same thing. Is why would you just have a client just because they can pay you, who, when you have to get on a call with them or something, or they come into the group, they're the ones in the corner and they're not even engaging or whatever. Right, Scott?
Yeah, totally and completely, Joey. And you made another excellent point there that I want to bring up. When you start to build your community and you build your tribe, and you have people that don't belong in there, they're not going to help it. They're going to to hurt it in a way, because their negative energy or their comments, and they're not going to do what it takes to get the transformation. You know that I took on a copywriting client who paid me fairly well, until one day he owed me a bunch of money and decided not to pay me anymore. And it was in the same week that my dream client appeared. So it was the antithesis. It was like, okay, Here's exactly who you shouldn't be engaging with and why. And here's exactly who you should be engaging with and why. One screwed me, and oh well, I'm a big boy. It's okay.
Right.
And the other one went to the end of the earth to figure out how to engage with me because I talked about one thing and I specified what I do. And that's it. And it becomes so much easier. And I keep saying that word, it's just so easy when you commit to just going back to focus on wowing and loving one single person one at a time and create something for that one person. And everybody else that is just like them is going to need the same thing because they're experiencing the same situation.
Yeah, and you just said something that is another point here, which is the one, okay? And it is about when you're starting the business or you want to grow the business, whatever it is. We've heard a lot of, and I've been there too. It's like, how do I make 100,000 or how do I grow this or whatever it is? Nothing wrong with having targets of money and revenue. But then the focus for me personally, it was, all right, here's what I want to do. But instead of me getting riled up in my head and my mind and overwhelmed of what kind of funnels do I need to bring in, X amount of leads, blah, 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 it was how do I find, and this was I'm going to reframe this because I know I just screwed this up because it's not how do we find them. It's like, how do they find us? But that was after the fact that I figured this out. But at the beginning of it was like, how do I find someone like this dream client and work with them? The point of this is, how do I find one of these people so I could transform them? And that's what I think everyone listening to this needs to hear that. So yes, I know that you want to build your business to 100,000, 100,000 million people, like whatever it is for you, but it's one person at a time. And eventually it will scale for you. But if all you focus on is all we're talking about here is one all the way through, I promise you, your life will be so much easier.
Joey, what if you focused on this one person and only this one person, and you wowed them and you loved them and you transformed their lives? They're going to stand on top of the mountain and say, oh my God, this is what this person did for me. And everybody else that's in the same situation, in the same grouping, in the same tribe, is going to say, that's what I need. That's what I want. I'll use my example now because I finally can, is okay, any yoga teacher out there that really wants to help others and further their practices with their gifts I'll help them do that. That's it. Period. If someone's like, well, look what he did for this one, look what he did for this one, or look what he did for this one person, and that's it. You don't need 1,000 testimonials. You need to help one person because someone else is like, well, what have you done? I helped this person do X, Y, Z and go from this to that. And that's the same thing I want to help you do. It's not like, well, okay, so you own a gym and I'm kind of familiar with how yoga studios work. So let me help you with your gym. No, I don't do gyms. I'm not fond of them. They're great, but that's not my thing. I don't like lifting weights. I had personal. I went through all that. That's not my purpose. That's not my passion. That's not what I love. Could I help them? Yes. Why should I? They're not invited to the Dream Yoga Resort.
Yeah, and in Atlas we talk about that. Remember, we say like one of the things about the anti-avatar is that they force you, and it may not be them saying it, but they're forcing you to adapt to them. So like in your example, that's exactly what's happening. You can say, well, yeah, I can help you because I've been building these yoga studios up, and you have to take your model and adapt it. And it doesn't mean you can't, but you have to do a lot of stuff to adapt it. And then someone else comes along and says, yeah, I can do this. And you kind of try to apply the model. And that's where you just get overwhelmed and you're spread out way too thin. And that's why the focus is on scale to 1 million, on the one thing that you do so well that you can start doing it in your sleep, and then worry about, well, I'm going to now go help gyms. Because now you have the money, the infrastructure, the teams, the health of the business, that you can take off and say, I'm no longer, you're running that part of the business. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to focus 6 months on figuring out what we need to adapt and adapt
Yeah.
your system, right? And then you do it all over again.
And Joey, I've said this before, but I'm going to bring it in again, is years ago when I was in the speaking world and I decided that I was going to focus on the hospitality industry, specifically the catering, wedding, special event market. And that's what I did. I went out and did a seminar on that, marketing that. And that's all I did. And I did like hundreds of seminars, and people said, oh, he's the wedding and event marketing guru. I didn't say that. They did.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, we need him because we need help with our weddings and events. And we need him because we need help with our wedding and events. You know, I also specialize in restaurants, but that's not what I was doing. And I didn't know any of this. It just happened. And now that I realize it, and we can all intentionally and purposefully go out and say, this is the line in the sand. This is the flag. This is who I am. This is what I do. One thing, one dream client, one person. Go, Joey.
Yep. I'm going to come back. I'm going to read something here from Jim Collins, who says one of the most effective strategies for a small to mid-sized company is to focus on one particular market or product line, and within that area of focus, be significantly better than the competition. Can you see a theme here? Focus on one thing and be significantly better than the competition. He says a focused strategy ensures, and I want you to hear this, ensures that your limited resources are concentrated to create the maximum advantage. I think that is so powerful. I'm going to repeat this because there's a lot of us who start out with practically no money. Yeah. And they think that by doing a lot of things, they're going to get a lot of money. Listen to this again. A focused strategy ensures that your limited resources are concentrated to create the maximum advantage. So it's what comes to mind right now, Scott, is like taking the magnifying glass and pointing it on the sidewalk to a leaf and letting the sun narrow in, and it burns the leaf, because now it's a centralized focus. Whereas the sun ray didn't burn the leaf, like the whole sun, because there was no focus on it, right?
Joey, we just, it's so important. That's why we're saying it over and over again. And I was there. I've been on both sides of it. I've been on the one thing, and then I've been on the multiple things, and now I'm back to the one thing, and I don't ever want to mess with anything ever again. And I would guarantee anybody that if you spent like 2 months max and went on one social media platform, talked about one thing, and did it a couple of times a week, not every single day, a couple of times a week, I would guarantee that within 2 months, let's say twice a week you did something, whether it was go live, whether it was put up a video, whether it was do a post, whether it was an article, whatever it was, and you help some people and you talk about your thing in 2 months, 8 weeks, that's 16 times out there. Somebody would reach out to you and say, I've been looking for somebody like you.
Right.
Guarantee it that would happen.
Yep. And Emma, thank you for this. So the question, like, you came to the mastermind and you were curated. Did you feel that the people that were in the mastermind with you, that you were kind of aligned with them? Like there was kind of the same people. So yes or no, and let me know in the chat. That'd be amazing. But this is what we're talking about, is trying to get the right people in who all are aligned with each other. Let me go back to some comments here, because there's some amazing ones here. I can and do. I forget what we were asking you, Emma. That was a little while ago, but I'm sure. Oh, there you go. So thank you that you did feel aligned. So I'm bouncing back and forth with comments here. So to Lorna, does last mean at the bottom, like last place or last? They will last in business. They stick around.
Yeah. Last meant that you will go the distance. That's what last meant.
Yeah. And Emma said that she just had that, Scott. I forget what that was about. Christina cleared some space for dream clients this summer. Amazing. I love that.
Nice.
And you've been too flexible with anti-avatar taking up my time. Yet get rid of anything that sucks the life out of you. And again, when we talk about anti-avatars, they are not bad people. They are just
No,
not aligned with our vision and our dream business.
they need to stand in a different line. And when it's like we talk about with the group, Joey, it's so many people come into the group, but that doesn't mean they're all dream clients or dream clients in training.
Yeah.
They come in, you welcome them, heart centered that. And over time, just like an email list, you say, you know, you don't belong in this tribe. You should probably, we don't say this, but that's what it is. You don't belong in the tribe, and you really should find your own tribe where you're going to hang out and be happy and transform, because our tribe, your tribe, my tribe is for the people that we've defined, the one person that we're going to help.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing too, is when you stand out, or when you position, or when you're in the mind of what is it here, a fanatical focus of on doing one thing well, stand for one distinctive thing that will give you a competitive advantage. I mean, I would argue that I have kind of a competitive advantage by talking about dream clients all the time, bringing it down to, well, I know you got avatars. I know that this is wrong with what your funnels or whatever, but here's the problem, and that gives me a competitive advantage because that's what I'm focused on to help fix the problem. And also because of that, it also repels people. And here's the good thing about repelling. If somebody repels, like, or they say, um, I don't agree with that, or I don't want to listen to that dude or whatever, because that's all he talks about is this. Um, that message is going to get out to somebody who may need to hear that. They go, dream clients, huh? Okay, I didn't really know that. Thank you, right? And then they go on and they come into my world because of that. So that's where the whole Howard Stern thing is
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like Howard because of this, and maybe you do like what he's doing or whatever. I don't know.
Joey, another thing is when we bring in other people that aren't dream clients, because there's a mindset, and we do talk about mindset. That's on the list of the 4 things we talk about. And I think the mindset is, but Joey, but Scott, I need to make some money. So I need to take on this client, even though, and I'm going to tell you this from experience, trust me, don't do it, struggle through it, figure it out. Because I took on a client about a month or so ago because they wanted to pay me a monthly. That was very nice. And I did it for the money. And that's the last thing when we talk about dream clients. And at the end, it's, oh, by the way, they have money. Instead of, well, this person has money, I need money. I should have. And we basically disengaged pretty quickly because it wasn't a fit. And I wasn't going to continue down it. And I started Atlas, and I was like, you know what? I'm drawing a line in the sand. I've made a commitment. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to encourage everybody that's listening live, hashtag live, on the replay, hashtag replay. And if you haven't joined the Heart Centered Marketing Club, Joey, of course, will put up a link for those of you that want to join a tribe of heart-centered marketing people.
Thank you for the plug. I did put it up there. So we're talking today about the one thing, and the whole focus is this: have one dream client, one offer, not a funnel of offers, not ladders, not anything else. And I highly recommend you do a premium offer, $1,000 at the very least, maybe $500 to start off, but very quickly you need to get it to $1,000, and your life will change. And you can, like we were talking today, even about scaling to $1 million. Like if you wanted to scale, whatever, here's what you can do. If you're watching this now, whatever number it is for you, and if you want to participate and put it into the chat right now, and do some math. Like, what is the number? You don't have to put the revenue number if you want to, cool, but what's the revenue number that you want? And then divide what you think, or what you are charging right now, to get to that number. Like, how many people? That's the number I'd like to see in the chat. Whatever you charge, whether it's $297 or $1,000 or whatever it is, and then take your revenue that you want and divide it. How many people do you need? So, okay, 100K months. So you want 1.2 million. I think that's what it is, right, Scott? If my math is right.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do math live. Okay,
Okay.
so 1.2 million, Christina, like whatever you're charging, how many people do you need at the current rate? I get to build a huge network. But
I was
that's what I
talking.
would, challenge everyone to do. Because if you don't know the numbers yet, this is a big eye opener for a lot of people.
I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, I'm doing real well, and I'm charging this much an hour. And I was like, you're about to run out of hours. I said, how much money do you want to make? And this, when do you want to retire? And what's your end game in that? They're like, I'd like to have this many millions of dollars. I said, well, let's see. You want to do this, and in 5 years, you want to slow down and blah, blah, blah. I said, it ain't going to happen.
Right.
Let's do the math here. Even if you charge $100 an hour, that's 4,000. That's 16. That's $190,000 a year. Even for 5 years, it's $1 million. But you don't get to keep that $1 million. You're only going to keep a couple 100,000 of it. So, and then you're exhausted because you're working 40 hours a week and you have no life. So now let's look at it and say, what if you had a program that was, like you said, 1,000 or 2,000? Let's say it was a $2,000 program and you wanted to make, $200,000. Well, 2,000 times 100 is 200,000. That's 100 people. That's 2 people, every week that you need to get or find. When you break it down like that, 2 people a week, that's not a lot of people.
Yeah, and on the other side, like I just did the math for Christina. You have a membership of $200 a month, and you want 100K a month. I think it's a little bit over 500 people a month you need.
There's 500 people.
Yeah. So basically, and we're not talking about churn yet. We're not talking about it's hopefully that all 500 people stay every single month. So that's does that model work? I'm sure it works. Netflix has proven it, and them. But is that what you want in your life? So this is why it's so important to have your life first, what you want it to look like, and then what is a dream client? Would a dream client be someone who could pay 10 times that amount? And all of a sudden, you've cut your 500 people down to whatever it works out to at 1,000. It's 100 people a month.
Yeah.
Right. So now you've 5x, you've reduced it by 5 times.
Yeah. Rather than trying to find 500 people, or 500 people finding you is a lot. Now, I want to jump to something else, Joey, that we didn't get into again in the mindset of that. Is right now it's like, okay, study Facebook ads, take a course in Facebook ads. Who do I hire for Facebook ads or Google AdWords or Instagram, or now TikTok's the hottest thing? And okay, so now I got to hire this company. I got to hire these specialists, and I got to pay them lots of money and spend the next few months. And then I got to start investing thousands of dollars to drive cold traffic and try to define my market. And thousands of dollars later, in frustration and trying to figure all this stuff out, it's like, this isn't working. Instead of, well, let me just focus on one person, wow them, love them, give them a result, transform their lives, and charge some money for it. You eliminate all that funnel and the this and the numbers game of KPIs and indexes and conversions and click-through rates, and who cares?
Yes.
It's so debilitating. It's so exhausting doing it that way, as opposed to how easy it is just doing it this way. I'm going to go talk about what I love to talk about, draw a line in the sand, tell people how I can help them. And that's the end of the conversation. And I'm different than anybody else out there. And so people will find you. People will find you.
How do dream clients find me? That's the question we all need to be asking. How do dream clients find me? You join Toastmasters to work in your public speaking. That's amazing.
Excellent. Yeah.
That's very cool. One dream client, one offer that you can scale to $1 million, and a working offer. In Christina's case, she may get 500 people if that's because really that's all she really needs. It doesn't have to be 500 a month, but she needs to have 500 a month in it, paying right. So whatever the churn is, if you lose, I don't know, 50 people a month or something like that, you always have to bring in 50 new people. But yeah, it very well could work. But
it could, 500 people at that, that's $1 million too.
Right.
It's doable.
Yeah, for sure.
These, companies that have tens or hundreds of millions of people that are paying them every month.
That's why it's important, Christina, for you to understand who those, I think you're dealing with women, entrepreneur women, who are they? And if you focus on an entrepreneur who is in a different situation, that needs your services, rather than somebody who is at the beginning stages, who can't really afford 197, that has to make a choice to pay 197 or pay for their lights. Like, that's not a good situation. And I'm not suggesting that's who it is, but just to give you an example, that a dream client is all of these things, characteristics and all that. But like Scott said, at the beginning, they are willing and able to pay. That's like the key driver of it. Like, not the key driver, but it has to be in there. They have to be willing to pay.
It's the last piece on the list.
Yeah.
Everything has to fit and say, oh, by the way, who's going to be able to spend $2,400 a year? Who's got $200 a month that they don't have to worry about?
Yeah, and that's a good. I love the way you frame that. Who has this that they don't have to worry about it?
Yeah,
like that's a brilliant way of framing it, man.
When I was having a conversation with someone, I was suggesting they did a $5,000 or $10,000 program, and I said, "How much do your dream clients make?" They said $150,000. I was like, no. They can't make a decision of $5,000 easily when they're making that. But somebody that's making $250,000, $300,000 a year, $5,000 to them is like, yeah, put it on my black card, no big deal. So that's an important piece here is whatever you're going to charge, your dream client has to be able to afford that, which means they need to be in a socioeconomic level that says they can afford it.
Yep. You want to read that one, Scott?
Sure. Emma says, I want to work with smaller groups because I want my clients to feel cherished and I want to understand how I can serve them better. I have been in big masterminds where I was lost in the community. Joey, go take this one.
Right on.
Right on, Joey.
If you're inside Atlas, you'd see exactly how this works. Because the dynamics of the community, because you're on the right track here. The dynamics of the community is priceless, and I can't even describe it, because you can say, oh, it's great and people like each other and they help each other, but like, you're in it, Scott. Now you've seen, like, I've talked about it for 100 episodes, and now you're in it. It's hard to describe, right? Like, you have to be in it to understand it.
Well, I don't know if it's hard to describe, Joey, because of everything you've done in talking about dream clients and attracting all these dream clients. And Dan Kennedy says magnetic marketing. You are magnetic, and you attract them to you, and you pull them in with that, and then they come in and they're part of it, and then they enroll in the whole philosophy of Atlas and dream clients, and then they want to be a part of other people's lives because they want to help each other and lift each other up, and that's what dream clients do. And it's not a big mastermind where there's 500 people or 1,000 people, and it's like, what am I doing here, paying all this money to have somebody help me instead of the somebody.
Yeah, and you get 5 minutes or a 50-minute Calendly call or something like that, and all you're getting a private call with me, and it's 15 minutes. No, man, like, that's not what this is about. So Emma, you're right in there, and you're right. It's about curating that small group, and that's why we focus so heavily on the dream client for you, Emma, listening to this now, is because you want to hand pick people that come into the community, because the community is the most important thing. And my coach told me, who says it all the time, that people buy the transformation, the thing that you sell, but they stay for the community.
Yep.
Right. And that I never understood until it started to happen to me. Yep. It's a nice thing to hear, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But until it happens, until you see it, it's a completely different dynamic. And that was the reason why it made me even realize more that when I'm selling or enrolling people into Atlas, it is, does this person fit the culture of Atlas? Because Atlas is not a program. It teaches you stuff and all that kind of great, but it's not a program anymore. It's a culture. It's a tribe, and they have to be curated in. That's the way that I do it, philosophy. Great feedback. Thank you. You're welcome. Lorna, thank you. Atlas is amazing, and it's been better every time. There's a real connection between students. I think I can speak for most of them and say we'd go to the line for any one of them. I'll let Scott talk about this because he's a student and I'm obviously biased. What do you think about that statement?
Well, it is amazing, and it does get better every time you do it. And Totally and completely. There is a connection because everybody is on the journey together, because dream clients go on the journey together with the same mindset, the same challenges for the most part. And when you're not afraid to open up and share, because you're going to get support, you're not going to be judged, you're not going to get people telling you what to do. They're going to make suggestions. And it's the power of the group rather than just Joey all the time. And that's what people do. If somebody is having a hard time, they're struggling, and they share it, well, yeah, I struggled too, and I had the same thing happen to me. And then it's just, I feel better about it. And so it's absolutely true, Lorna.
If you're here watching us live, hashtag live, please, or hashtag replay. That would be cool. And if you like what we're talking about, maybe give us a thumbs up or a heart or a smash the bell thingy or like or subscribe. I don't know. Wherever you're wherever you're watching, the thing that says, yeah, this is all right. I like this. That would be cool.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those say, hey, this stuff is good stuff.
And so I want to repeat some of these quotes here that I wrote down from some brilliant people. The one is to focus on the single person you are trying to wow or help. That's how we started off the show.
Yep.
And this is what it's about. Focus on the single person you are trying to wow or help and create something that they will love. And I'll extend this, that I think Dan Sullivan said, if you change someone profoundly, they will tell other people. And that's basically what this whole thing is. So if you only look at how do I change one person profoundly, they will go tell somebody else. And that is how dream clients find you. Okay. The other one is a fanatical focus on doing one thing well. Stand for one distinctive thing that will give you a competitive advantage. And that's why I said that if whatever you're doing, that anybody else can. That's who said it. Okay, I got to give credit to. It's Sally Hogshead. It's Sally Hogshead said that if your statement or whatever you do, if you can take your name and picture off it and somebody else can put theirs on it and it makes no difference, that's not a good positioning statement. And it's tough. It's not easy to do. It's not easy. But I challenge everyone to look at, here's what I do, and if someone else in your industry or a competitor put their name on it, would it be the same thing? Or when you go to their site, are they saying the same thing?
Exactly. Thank you for summing it up, Joey. What a great topic tonight.
Amazing. The power of one. Hopefully you like this. And if you did, let us know. We are here every single Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. I don't know who this is, but thank you for the comment. Tony is brilliant and you're amazing gentlemen. So grateful for you. Oh, that must be Collie. Okay. Now now that I see the sign off there.
Love and soul, yeah.
Thank you, Collie. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Emma. Thank you for playing along with us. Thank you for letting us pick on you a little bit lovingly today. But that helps everybody. Well. And Christina, thank you so much for engaging and letting us play with what you're doing. This is amazing. Hopefully it helped you out. We'll see you next Tuesday. Yeah.
Next Tuesday. Yeah.
That's how it all works.